My Weirder-est School, book number 4. Miss Blake is a Flake. Written by Dan Gutman. Pictures by Jim Pelot. Chapter 10. Saving Miss Blake. Everybody was happy that the bear ran away. But then we realized Miss Blake was still on the ground. "She's not breathing," shouted Alexia. "We've got to do something," shouted Emily. "You have a smartphone, Andrea," shouted Michael. "Call 911. "There's no cell phone service out here," Andrea shouted back. "We should run and get help," shouted Ryan. "No time for that," shouted Andrea. "Miss Blake could die. There's only one thing to do. We have to give her mouth-to-mouth resuscitation." "No." Gross. I wasn't going to do that. It's way too much like kissing. "Move over," Andrea barked. She got down on her hands and knees and started blowing air into Miss Blake's mouth. Yuck. "Is it working?" Ryan whispered while Andrea gave Miss Blake mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. "I can't tell," whispered Neil. "I guess Miss Blake isn't so brave after all," whispered Emily. "And I'll bet she never punched a bear in the face," I said. "She's totally afraid of bears." "I think she's waking up," shouted Michael. Miss Blake opened her eyes. "Where am I?" she asked. "What happened to the bear?" "It ran away," Andrea told her. "We're safe now." "Thank goodness for that," said Miss Blake. As it turned out, we weren't safe at all, because that's when the weirdest thing in the history of the world happened. There was a roaring sound in the distance. "What's that?" asked Emily. "It sounds like a jet engine," I shouted. But it wasn't a jet engine. It was the sound of rushing water. It was a wall of water, and it was coming straight at us. "Wow," everybody said, which is Mom upside down. "Run for your lives," shouted Neil. "It's a flash flood," shouted Miss Blake. "Try to grab onto something and hold on. Never leave your buddy behind." This was the worst thing to happen since TV turn-off week. Everybody was yelling and screaming and hooting and hollering and freaking out. We made a run for it. But the wall of water caught up to us. It knocked me over. I started swimming. I couldn't see anything. My body was being thrown every which way. Rocks were all around. I bumped my head on something. "Arlo, are you okay?" I heard Andrea shout. And that was the last thing I remember. Chapter 11. The Big Surprise Ending. The next thing I knew, I was on stage in the all-purpose room at school. My head felt a little weird. I reached up to touch my forehead, and there was a bandage on it. I looked around. The room was filled with our parents and teachers. All the Beaver Scouts were on stage with me. So was Miss Blake. "What's going on?" I whispered to Ryan, who was standing next to me. "They're about to give out the award," he whispered back. Our principal, Mr. Klutz, bounded up onto the stage. He held up his hand and made a peace sign, which means shut up. "Welcome," Mr. Klutz announced. "I hear you Beaver Scouts had quite an adventure this week. I'd like to introduce Miss Blake to tell us about it." Miss Blake took the microphone. Everybody gave her a round of applause. "These kids are tough, I'll tell you that," she said. "Toughest Beaver Scouts I've seen." "What happened on your overnight?" asked Mr. Klutz. "We took a nature hike," explained Miss Blake. and we set up camp for the night. The kids made the fire, and we ate hot dogs and marshmallows. And the next thing we knew, we were attacked by a bear. Gasp! Everybody gasped. What did you do? Asked Mr. Klutz. Well, said Miss Blake, I was just about to punch that bear in the face when the bear punched me in the face. Gasp! Everybody gasped again. What? The bear never punched Miss Blake in the face. We knew the truth. She fainted when she saw the bear. The bear punched you in the face? Asked Mr. Klutz. Yes, said Miss Blake. Isn't that right, kids? I looked at Ryan. Ryan looked at Michael. Michael looked at Neil. Neil looked at Emily. Emily looked at Andrea. We were all looking at each other. Yes, Miss Blake, Andrea said. The bear punched you in the face. I was knocked unconscious, Miss Blake continued. What happened next? Well, I'd better let these brave Beaver Scouts tell you. We were all scared, Andrea said. Emily climbed up on my back, and we made loud noises to scare the bear away. And then Andrea gave Miss Blake mouth-to-mouth resuscitation until she woke up, added Emily. Andrea smiled the smile that she smiles to let everybody know how wonderful she is. Wow, that's some story, said Mr. Klutz. That's not the end of it, said Miss Blake. What happened after that, kids? There was a flash flood, said Michael. It came out of nowhere, said Ryan. Water was everywhere. We thought we were gonna die, I said. Gasp! Everybody gasped. What happened after that? Asked Mr. Klutz. All our supplies got swept away by the water, said Andrea. And then we got swept away by the water, said Emily. Arms and legs were everywhere, said Ryan. I didn't know what happened after that. After that, Neil said, AJ bumped his head on a rock. Andrea saved his life, said Emily. What? I didn't know about that part. AJ was drowning, said Alexia. Andrea swam over and dragged him out of the water, said Emily. What? She gave him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation until he started breathing again, said Alexia. Wait, what? I shouted. Andrea gave you mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, said Alexia. She saved your life. No, I shouted, wiping off my mouth. Disgusting. It's true, AJ, said Neil. It looked like she was kissing you. Ooh, Andrea and AJ were kissing, said Ryan. They must be in love. When are you gonna get married? Asked Michael. It was the worst moment of my life. I wanted to run away to Antarctica and go live with the penguins. Penguins don't have to give each other mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Well, that's gratitude for you, complained Andrea. Arlo, I'm never going to save your life again. That's pretty much what happened. Miss Blake said she was really proud of us. She gave each of us a sticker, a decal, a ribbon, a badge, a belt loop, a certificate, a medallion, and a plaque that said how brave we were. Then she gave Andrea the Busy Beaver of the Year award. Her parents took pictures. Maybe Miss Blake will admit she's afraid of bears. Maybe people will stop taking pictures of cheese. Maybe we'll go spelunking. Maybe Andrea will take a class in brushing your teeth. Maybe Mr. Dummy will stop breathing again. Maybe beavers will start chatting about what they're going to have for dinner. Maybe I'll let the guys talk me into signing up to be a Beaver Scout again next year. But it won't be easy.